Good day everyone. Today we start with the first video in part C of this series called Creation versus Evolution. It is about lies in the textbooks and the first part is about the Grand Canyon. Please subscribe, like and share these videos as much as possible. About a year ago, I made a video on the lies in our schools, which deals with information concerning lies in the South African school system. This series, however, will be about lies in American textbooks. The reason for this is because most of the information on what the evolution theory teaches are in these textbooks. These lies are the same universally, and since most of the research has already been done by Dr. Hoven on this subject, I will just build on that to bring my point across. Now, I want to make it very clear, I have nothing against science. However, evolution is not science and should not be taught as part of science. If I'm not allowed to teach Christianity in public schools, then they should not be allowed to teach evolution in public schools. I don't believe that there should even be such a thing as a public school to begin with, but that is a point for a different discussion altogether. Evolution is not fact, as it has never been proven with reliable evidence to be true. Should you believe in evolution, it is a religion, since you have to believe in it. I do not want to take evolution out of the schools. I do not want to get creation to be taught in schools. All I want is to get the lies out of the textbooks. If you take the lies out of the books, there will be nothing left to support the evolution theory. Well, that's their problem. If all you have to support your theory are things that have been proven wrong years ago, then maybe it is time to change your theory. Here is a textbook from 1908 stating that God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. It also says prayer is a duty, but it is in vain to pray without a sincere desire of heart. God governs the world in infinite wisdom. Now, let's look at a school textbook from the year 2000. Evolution is fact, not theory. Birds arose from non-birds and humans from non-humans. No person who pretends to any understanding of the natural world can deny these facts. Looks like things have changed, doesn't it? Anyway, when they say that evolution is a fact, this is called a mantra. They think that if you say it long enough and loud enough, that everyone will start believing it. This textbook says, even though most scientists and religious leaders no longer see evolution and religion as in conflict, a minority of Christian fundamentalists remain opposed to evolutionary biology. This is called slanted journalism. A minority of fundamentalists. They are marginalizing those, even though it is the majority of Americans that does not believe in evolution. Look what it says here. Creation science states that all species were created by God roughly 10,000 years ago and that they have not evolved since. As scientific issues, we know that these assertions are false. Now just hang on here. This is not what creation science teaches. Creation science teaches that roughly 10,000 years ago, all kinds were created by God, and the only evolution was variation within those kinds. So they are setting up a straw man here so that they can knock it down and think that they won the argument. Look at this. If we prevent our secondary school students from learning what science has to offer, creation science is not trying to stop students from learning science. See how they get you to think that evolution and science are the same thing? What does science have to offer? Things that we can observe and test and demonstrate. Evolution is not part of it. So, If we prevent our secondary school students from learning what science has to offer, we run the risk that they will not be able to compete effectively in college classrooms or in today's global economy. This is their altar call. If we don't teach evolution, the sky will fall and we will all die. They somehow think that their religion is important in our schools, and it is not. This textbook has over 100 pages where the evolution theory is presented to the kids. Not one mention of creation. If they do mention creation, it is always in ridicule, like I just showed you a minute ago. This chart shows how the atheists rate the United States based on how well they teach evolution. If a state is red, it means they are doing a lousy job in teaching evolution. Well done, guys. The green states are doing an excellent job of teaching evolution. They should be ashamed of themselves. Does any of you watching think that teachers or textbooks should be allowed to teach outdated or false information just to get students to believe a particular theory? Does anyone watching think that teachers that deliberately lie should be fired? Do any of you think that the pages in textbooks that lie to students should be torn out? Of course. It is amazing how two people looking at the same thing can come to opposite conclusions of what they are seeing. They can both look at the Grand Canyon, and the evolutionist will say, "Wow, look at what the Colorado River did over millions of years." But the Bible-believing Christian will say, "Wow, look at what the flood did in about 30 minutes. Just how old is the Grand Canyon anyway? This textbook says, "Over millions of years, the Colorado River has carved out the Grand Canyon from solid rock." Now kids, it is a fact that the Grand Canyon exists. There are two interpretations of how it got there: the creationist interpretation and the evolutionist interpretation. The evolutionist will say that it formed slowly by little water and lots of time. The creationist will say that it formed quickly by lots of water and little time. The guys who believe in evolution are continually trying to erase the line between their interpretation and the fact column. And they want you to somehow think that what they interpret as evidence is now part of the facts. You really have to watch out for this, as it is very cunning and deceiving. This textbook does it blatantly. The Colorado River has cut through layer upon layer of rock over millions of years. Did you know that if you were to build a dam across the Colorado River, a huge lake would form? It's a huge drainage area. Let me give you some facts. The river runs downhill and enters the canyon on the far right, where the ground elevation is about 900 meters high. It goes through the canyon for about 470 kilometers and exits on the left, where the ground is about 550 meters elevation. In that 470 kilometers, however, the ground level rises and then drops off again. It rises to around 2,600 meters in certain points. Armed with this knowledge, one can now ask the authors of these textbooks and the teachers that teach this nonsense the following questions. Did you know that rivers do not flow uphill? Where is the delta? You know, all the dirt that washed out of the Grand Canyon? There is simply no way that that river made that canyon. The Grand Canyon is obviously a washed out spillway. There used to be two big lakes, the Grand Lake and the Hopi Lake, and they got too full one day. I suspect it happened shortly after the flood. Maybe the ice caps melted and the lakes became too full, and the water went over the top of the ridge, while the ground was still relatively soft. It then washed out that canyon really quickly. There are still beaches where the lakes used to be. The lakes are long gone, but you can still see the beach lines. So if they tell you that the river formed that canyon, they are lying to you. It is geophysically impossible. If you look at the way most rivers come together, almost all rivers join at what is called acute angles. This means the angle where they join are less than 90 degrees. And on the east side of the Grand Canyon, this is true. But on the west side, where it enters the canyon, the rivers run backwards into the channel. One day, a city fella witnessed this happening. It's called calf pulling, where the farmer helps a cow to deliver a calf. The farmer saw the perplexing look on the city fella's face, and when he was done, walked over to the city fella and said, "Did you see what we did?" He said, "Yes." The farmer then asked, "Do you have any questions?" And the city fella said, "Yes, just one. How fast was the calf going when it ran into the cow?" See, two people look at the same thing and one of them gets the wrong idea of what he's looking at. The Bible warned us it was going to happen. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lust. See, the reason why people don't like the Bible is not because of their science, it is because of their own lusts. And saying, "Where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were." Peter tells us that the scoffers would come and say that the way things are happening now is the same as they always have been happening. Long, slow, gradual processes. He says that the scoffers would be willingly ignorant. In the Greek, that means dumb on purpose. Whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. So, in the last days, there will come scoffers that are willingly ignorant of the flood. Thank you for watching, folks. This is all we have time for. Please like, subscribe, and share as much as possible to help my channel grow. Also, don't forget to leave a donation. Instructions on how to do so will follow. God bless. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy our videos, please leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified of our next video. You can help us create better videos by leaving a donation on Patreon. The link is in the description. Thank you. We hope to see you next time.